Hey guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight at our, what is this, our fifth or sixth podcast, Alex, on Got Pain?
I think 5.
Okay, so
But I'm not sure.
We'll figure that out too. Apparently we're having more technical difficulty, but guys, listen, as muddy as the water is, it's still worth drinking. And we've got some really good nuts and bolts here. We found out that neither one of us have a computer science degree, right? So that's okay, but got some wonderful information, and we got some timely information. So some of this stuff that you're going to hear tonight is going to have direct health benefits for some things that most of us have recently become in need of. And when I say recent, as of probably the last couple, 3 years. And so very timely, very corrective for some of the insults that we've all recently faced. But let me just introduce myself. My name's Dr. Tim Adair, and I've been a practicing chiropractor. My specialty is kinesiology and clinical nutrition, and I've been practicing almost 26 years. And the reason I joined this podcast is I had a very generous offer from a doctor who's got a much bigger resume than mine. And he wanted to join forces because my deficiencies are his strengths, and hopefully vice versa. And so we look at this, and I wanted to see here, Alex, if I could bring well, I'll just leave it for a second. We have a concept, guys, and the concept is to be healthy. It takes 3 things, and health is trapped in a 3-sided triangle. And that 3 sides is structure, chemistry, and then your mental, emotional health. And so as a practicing chiropractor, we do a lot of structural corrections and feel like we can handle that. And with my background in clinical nutrition, we do a ton of things to help people with clinical nutrition. But to be quite transparent, I do not have a background at all in mental health. And with my board licensure, I don't have the ability in my scope of practice to even pretend I know anything about mental health and do any of that. So I have a deficiency that my patients don't have access to, and that's all the benefits that we might get if we had a mental health expert. So we have a mental health expert. Matter of fact, we don't have a mental health expert. We have the mental health expert. So Dr. Alex and I have partnered with this, and as many of you guys know, Dr. Loyd is a New York Times best-selling author. He's got the largest mental health practice in the world, and he's got some not evolutionary treatments, but revolutionary treatments. And some of these aren't things he's learned, like many of the strategies that I do with my patients. These didn't exist before Alex Loyd. And so these are custom treatments that Alex has created to benefit a tremendous amount of people. So Alex, I'm excited to partner with you, man. And I'm glad you're good at what I'm not. And I think that's the beauty of our thing here. So why don't you come on board, and I'm going to try my best to support you here with some tech stuff and teach us some things tonight.
Yeah, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize. I think we've canceled the last meeting for technical difficulties, and obviously we still have some technical difficulties. We're trying to take care of those. I apologize. And a lot of you are thinking, everybody in the world is doing Zoom. Is it really that hard? The answer is no, it's not. But neither Tim or I have that wavelength, and our tech people have been on vacation and not where they could help us on a particular night. It's just sort of been a Murphy's Law, sort of stars aligning in a negative way. So I'm sorry. We hope that doesn't happen again. And yeah, my publishers told me, 2 publishers, Random House and Hachette, both top 5 New York publishers, top 5 publishers in the world, 2 of them. Those are my publishers. Every book I've published has been under one of those. And they both told me I had the largest emotional well-being practice in the world. But that's clients in 50 states, 184 countries. But I had a huge deficiency. And it's that we're pretty good at emotional and mental, but we don't do really structural or chemical. And that's not in my scope of practice, really. That's in Dr. Adair's, okay? He does chemistry and structure, and I believe he's the best practicing chiropractor in the world. That's not hype, I believe it, okay? Because For years, I worked with him in the office right next to his in the same building for 3 years. 3 years, okay? And I watched person after person limp in, frowning, kind of like this. Like they're in pain, and come out laughing, very often without their cane, without their wheelchair, without their another person propping them up or something, and sometimes secretly saying to Tim, because they'd seen other chiropractors, "Hey, can I come back to you, but you not tell any of these other chiropractors, because I don't want to get in trouble with them, but I want to see you." And that has happened more times than I can count. On an average day, he has people coming from 6 different states. And ladies and gentlemen, you may think, well, okay, but you've got clients in 50 states, 184 countries, but that's virtual. You got to remember, that's virtual. Okay, that's the phone or Zoom or whatever. When they come to see Dr. Adair, they're driving or flying from 6 different states every week. And I believe it's because what he does, I don't know of any other practicing chiropractor in the world who does it. Okay. So that's why I was either going to partner with him or I wasn't going to do this at all. Okay. So that's why I'm here. By the way, I'm excited. This Monday, this is Thursday, 3 days ago, I was sent the 19th, 10, 15, 19, the 19th double-blind study on the healing codes and trilogy that has just been published in a peer-reviewed journal. I believe they studied 4 different issues and found that every one of them is dramatically benefited by the healing codes and trilogy. It's right on our website. You can read it. We added the 19th one this week. There's not another natural health treatment that I know of that has 19 double-blind studies.
Hey, Dr. Alex, if you will, would you tell for my patients that are joining the podcast, tell them a Cliff Notes definition of what the healing codes are?
Yeah. The healing codes are, here's my elevator speech. The healing codes are the discovery of 4 healing centers on the body that, to my knowledge, have never been discovered before, at least not in a complete system. You activate those in a particular sequence depending on your issue. You go to the back of the manual, there's 485 possible issues. They're in alphabetical order. You find yours, it'll have a page number beside it. You go to the page number, it will have the specific code to heal the source of that issue, and it takes 6 minutes to do.
So it's kind of like a combination for every different diagnosis.
That's right. Completely natural, organic, nothing to take. No, it's not exercise. It's not yoga. Very simple to do. A 6-year-old can do it unassisted once they're taught how to do it in about 5 minutes.
Let me ask you this. Is it easier to do than control a Zoom platform?
Infinitely.
Okay,
Infinitely.
good.
Yes. Okay. So that is why I am here. And tonight, we are talking about something that is absolutely one of the biggest issues positively in the entire world right now. It is the current rage, okay? And for good reason. So, Tim, I'm going to pass it to you to tell them the first stage of that.
Okay, I'll be happy to. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we were talking about and what Dr. Alex is talking about is we have the conversation tonight is something called glutathione. And very simply, glutathione is naturally occurring in the body, but glutathione is kind of like Mother Nature's tow truck. It is the strongest antioxidant in your body. Now, there is some argument about, is it as strong as, it's way stronger than A, C, E, selenium. There's something called N-acetylcysteine, which we're going to address, superoxide dismutase, which we're going to talk about, maybe melatonin, not the one you take off the shelf, but the one you endogenously produce in your body. It might rival glutathione. Second to sleep and recovery, excuse me, there is nothing stronger for getting toxicity out of the human body. Let me say that again, Dr. Alex. There is nothing stronger for getting toxicity out of the human body than.
Wait. I've got my bell tonight, everybody.
Uh-oh.
If you hear the bell, it means I'm trying to kindly interrupt or I'll forget what I'm about to say. Okay. What I was going to say is, how big a deal is toxicity in the body?
Well, brother, so toxicity in the body is always been a big deal, but it's the bigger deal as of the last 2 or 3 years. And so you know that we try to archive these for people who can't make these live podcasts, and they go on the YouTube platform. And there's certain logarithmic punch words that we're not going to say so that we get to get this good information out there. But let's assume that people, let me talk about some of the toxicities in the body, and Alex, feel free to jump in here if you like. So I hope that you don't supplement your practice and go to work for Terminex. I don't want you spraying all those chemicals. I don't want you breathing them. I don't want you touching them. And I don't think you're going to do that. But we might have some people on the call tonight that they might be hairdressers. They might be using hairspray and colors. We might have artists.
Cologne, perfume, a lot
Absolutely.
of them.
And then, a lot of people don't realize the importance of doing more organic type of soaps and shampoos and makeup. I have a 19-year-old daughter who's in college, and I asked her, I said, babe, when I was in college, and that was a long time ago, but I was there for a while. I said, when I was in college, there was this stuff called beer. Is beer still in college? And Alex, me and you are so far removed. I don't know if you know this or not, but she told me there's still beer in college. Did you know that? So
I think I heard that somewhere.
Yes, sir. So if you're doing a fair amount of drinking, or you drink a little bit, the best thing in the world to get alcohol out of the liver is actually glutathione. And then also with medications. And I have to tell you, Alex, I'm more and more distraught the longer I practice. When I started practicing 27 years ago, I got a lot of guys that were our age that were on 1 or 2 medications. And I see people now that are my age that are on 6 or 7 or 8 prescriptions, and they're taking 2 or 3 over the counters, and they're drinking a little bit, and they might work in a factory setting where they've got some chemical exposure. And then some of these guys will try to still play softball, or they try to golf a little bit. And one of the things we forget about that is toxicity to the body is inflammation. And so a couple of things here, guys. We talk about sources, and we pride ourselves on trying to help everybody, no matter what your resources are, with these podcasts. So here's my first freebie of tonight. Glutathione is a naturally occurring compound that you can get in some foods. And so a lot of people know that certain diets will help you with your health, but I think they're a little confused on why they help. So I was talking to Alex about this, and Alex and I share a common philosophy, so we usually don't offend each other. So I'm going to do a Protestant confession with Brother Alex here, if that's okay. Are you ready?
Let me put my robe on. Or
there
whatever.
you go for the deep confession.
I am an ordained minister for 30 years.
There you go. So Alex, I think based on that, you already know that the crucifix is necessary for salvation, right?
That's right.
And I will tell you this, with certain vegetables, we refer to certain vegetables as cruciferous. That means there's a cross in there somewhere. And what we're talking about under dark field electron microscopy, the sulfur compound looks like a little cross.
Isn't that unbelievable?
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
But here's the thing. All the sulfur containing compounds like broccoli, like cabbages, like kale, those hard sulfur containing vegetables clean out the liver through the pathway that is sulfur catalyzed. Now, also beef and poultry fish have levels of glutathione in them. So if you went on a meat and sulfur-based vegetable diet for 4 or 5, 6 days after a chemical exposure, after a protocol of medication, after a epidural steroid shot, after whatever chemical insult that you got, whether it was prophylactic for a respiratory virus or whatever else might be out there, whatever medication that is in your body that you wish that you could maybe protect yourself from side effect for could be alleviated by that diet. But the big thing that we would like to take is with supplementation for the glutathione donors. Now, guys, glutathione is contributed in your body by something called N-acetylcysteine. N-acetylcysteine, or NOC, is a product that we can take. Now, Alex, did you know that NOC was taken off of Amazon for a long while during the pandemic?
I did not know that.
So Amazon now, you can get different sources of N-acetylcysteine, but they use N-acetylcysteine in the emergency room. Have you heard that?
I heard that today from somebody named Dr. Adair.
Well, so let me tell you this, brother. So N-acetylcysteine is such a good compound that it's actually used in the emergency room for Tylenol poisoning and sometimes for alcohol poisoning. And so if you go to a frat party and you have too much to drink and you get your liver behind, and then you take a handful of Tylenol the next day, and all of a sudden you start shutting down, if you have a really smart ER doc, he will pull out the N-acetylcysteine because that's a donor for glutathione. And remember, glutathione is the tow truck that pulls that toxicity out of your body. Okay? Now, me and you are not qualified anymore for fraternity parties, and I don't think we would probably misbehave if we got an invite. But if you had a nice glass of wine with a nice steak and you wanted to make sure that you were staying ahead of anything that would be harmful to your system, what a nice time to take a little glutathione. If you were training for a marathon now here's the other thing. One of the really hard things on the liver is insulin. So if we have ladies on here that have PCOS, or we have insulin resistance, or we have a really hard time with metabolic syndrome and have a hard time losing weight, glutathione tremendously helps with those type things. Alex, I'll go past this. Do you know what an apple looks like when you cut it open, leave it on the kitchen island, get a phone call, and come back 20 minutes later and you see that nasty old brown apple?
Yeah, that's right.
Here's the coolest thing. So that's because of oxidation. So real clear, guys, oxygen's good for you. Isn't that profound? That's what you learned tonight. Oxygen is good for you, and it's good for all the cells in your body that are alive. But if you're dead, the thing that makes you ugly quick is oxygen. So as long as you're a living apple, good for you. But if you got some dead apple cells in there that oxidize, then we need antioxidants to clean up that debris. So this is the coolest thing about glutathione. Alex, if you're taking vitamin C, I'm a vitamin C hog. That's my thing that I do a tremendous amount of. Or you're taking selenium, or you're taking vitamin E or vitamin A. All those are fine antioxidants. My favorite antioxidant from the A family, while we're talking about it, is milk thistle, which is in my complete glutathione supplement. But all the A's, all the C's, all the E's, all the selenium, all the superoxide dismutase, all of those are regenerated and recycled by glutathione. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Whatever is in your body will get rebooted, recycled by glutathione. Now, here's another principle of glutathione that I want to tell you guys, because I want another confession, Brother Alex. I did glutathione wrong when I started doing glutathione. I started doing glutathione lots of years ago. I was a student when I was teaching gross anatomy, and I got really sick from being around the formaldehyde and the formalin, and I started breaking out in hives, and the chemical load was in my very stressed out, under-rested body was too much for me. So being a young go-getter, I went and took a lot of glutathione, and it made me sick. I felt almost panicky. I got diarrhea. I felt like I got sweats. It made me very, very scared to do hard, high doses of glutathione. So here's my take on it. And this is probably the world according to me and nobody other than me. So you certainly don't have to agree with this, but I would caution you to at least start conservative with this. Remember the 3 bears or the 3 bowls of porridge? One was too cold, one was too hot, and what was the other one?
Too cold.
Too cold, too hot. The other one was just right.
Just right. Just
Yeah.
right.
Okay. And so that's the extent of my literary expertise. But the just right, we don't want to go too hot with glutathione. So like if there's an energetic way to activate glutathione, if there is a supplemental way to do glutathione where you're not doing tons of glutathione, but you're doing it with a little milk thistle, a little N-acetylcysteine, a little superoxide dismutase, and you recharge the vitamin C compounds in your body. It's nice and easy and gentle on your body, and we don't have to have a flu-like detoxification. We can go steady Eddie, easy peasy, and we can get some bad stuff out nice and gentle, and nobody ends up with a health crisis, and we begin to recover. So Alex, I like a product called Complete Glutathione. We'll see if we can show a picture here in just a second, and or let's do this. I'll save it for the end, and we'll put it on there.
Let me ask you a question.
Please.
Okay. The Complete Glutathione supplement, one thing I noticed is there are a bunch of other ingredients in there besides glutathione.
Right.
Did you notice that?
Yeah. And matter of fact, did you notice one of the ones at the bottom of the pile was glutathione, right?
Yeah, right,
so,
right. There's more of other things in there.
That's right. And so remember, and it's because we don't want to go too hot. I personally don't like to get phone calls how people are sitting on the toilet and they're vomiting and they got sweats. So glutathione is so strong, you better respect it. And so I like to use a little glutathione with a little N-acetylcysteine, with a little superoxide dismutase, with some milk thistle. And I like to consistently, gently, I like for you to be a little better a lot of the time. And so if we're a little better, a little better, a little better, and we're constantly getting a little better, we're not putting people through those healing crises, and we're safe. And I have never had a glutathione event in my office like the one I had in somebody else's office when I was a student. And so that's just my philosophy. You could probably get better faster if you used a little hotter bowl of porridge, but I'm just not comfortable with that. And now that I've kind of joined forces with you on this, I think you have a strategy for a energetic pathway. And honestly, I don't know any of that. So I get to be the student from here on out. So why don't you take it from here?
Yeah, we do. We've got that solved. And here's what I'll say, ladies and gentlemen. Glutathione is the newest miracle nutrition. There was penicillin, there was vitamin C, there was vitamin D, there was CBD is probably the most recent miracle one. It's still a miracle, but for a lot of people, the newest one, even though it's been around a long time, is glutathione. And let me tell you, glutathione is near and dear to my heart because my mother died of liver cancer. Okay, Tim, what is the #1 organ related to glutathione?
Absolutely, the liver. Matter of fact, the sulfation pathway, where we talked about all those little cruciferous things, works in the liver.
Yeah, and what you need to know is I know a bunch of doctors, medical doctors, who say if your liver's good, chances are the rest of you is going to be okay at least. If your liver's not good, you are not ever okay. If someone were to say, put a gun to your head or something and say, okay, which of your organs do you want to give up? Well, none of them. But one of the last ones you would ever want to give up is glutathione. I mean, is your liver.
Alex, let me challenge the audience tonight. So a lot of times we talk about insulin resistance and we talk about fatty liver, and depending on the practitioner that you talk to, they will tell you there is no solution for that. I will tell you, if you do some glutathione homework, you may not necessarily believe that comment.
That's right. Absolutely. And here's one thing I'll say about Dr. Tim's Nutrition is, yeah, you can go to Amazon and you can find glutathione, and you may find one that's $1 or $2 cheaper. I don't know. I haven't really looked. Yeah, there's hundreds of them there, but you may find one or $2 cheaper. You usually can. But here's the deal. It won't have all those other ingredients.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Alex, and because of the low dose of glutathione, which is very expensive, and all the cofactors in this,
yeah,
this one's actually a pretty hard deal to beat for efficacy. So that's one of the reasons too. I usually have people on a couple different products. So I try to make all mine nifty and thrifty so that we can couple things.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, just be careful about that. Because if you go by the ones on Amazon, they're not going to have those other ingredients that balance it and make it safer. So I'm not saying you're going to get hurt if you do that, but you might. Okay. So, all right. So I take glutathione every day. I would not go without glutathione. Me personally, I'm not saying that for you. Okay. I can tell a big difference since I started taking it. It is one of just a few things that I take and I will not give up. Okay. And everything I take, I've felt a difference in it after starting to take it. What I hear from most people is, I've been taking this for 6 months. I can't tell if it's making any difference. Well, the things we're talking to you about, I believe you're going to be able to tell that they make a difference, and quickly. All right. So Tim, if we can switch to the energetic solution that I've got. And ladies and gentlemen, I've been so excited about this. Not long ago, we introduced a product that is these bands, these blue bands I'm wearing. I think Tim may have one on too, or he's got one somewhere. But anyway, those were invented by Mike Flint, and they're absolutely miraculous, and the medical tests prove it. And there's never been a medical test on this technology that hasn't shown that it works, and works dramatically, and even does what the literature says can't be done. All right. But what I want to tell you about tonight is not the band. It is a patch. And Mike Flint invented this too, along with a quantum physicist. And this is different. Okay, this is way different from the band. This is a patch. I've got 2 on right now, one under my belly button and one on, is that C2, Tim? That's the big blob at the base of at the top of your spine. Is that C2, C3?
So C2 is the first real palpable vertebra there that is,
okay.
Yeah.
So I've got one on C2 and under my belly button, and the one on C2 sort of spreads it through your whole body. Okay. And all you do is stick one of them right there, let it fall off when it falls off. Mine usually fall off in about a week, unless I'm rubbing it a lot or run my hand over it when I'm washing that little spot on the back of my neck. So you might just, sort of put some soap over that, but don't rub it, and it'll stay on. It'll stay on in the pool. They stay on really well. But anyway, this thing, it's called the E49. And it is unlike anything I know of in the world. It has 49 different ingredients. 3 of them are CBD, glutathione, and grounding. And we talked about grounding a few weeks ago when we talked about the Q3 band. Grounding is one of the most healthy things on planet Earth, but you got to go stand in the grass barefoot for at least 2 hours to get it. When you put this patch on, it does it in 60 seconds, and for as long as you're wearing it. And then it has 40 other healing ingredients, But here's the main thing about this E49 patch, at least to me. Now, the CBD, glutathione, and grounding, if you didn't get anything else, that would be worth 10 times the price of these things. And I know you're thinking that's hype. It's not hype. CBD, glutathione, and grounding, those three things, are they life-changing? They're more than life-changing. Those are the three of the healthiest things we know of on planet Earth. CBD is the only thing we know of that has a healing effect on all 350 macro and micro body systems at the same time. It's the only thing we know of. Glutathione is the newest miracle drug. Grounding does miraculous things, but the whole world is stumped by it because nobody's got time to go sit in the grass for 2 hours. All right. Well, this is instant. But the main thing about this one is that a number of years ago, a doctor researcher was researching ancient manuscripts. And to make a long story short, basically, this lady, brilliant scientist doctor, figured out that in the Bible, in the Old Testament of the Bible, where it talks about the holy anointing oil that was absolutely sacred, and only the priests were even allowed to have it. And it was this special, huge, big, important ceremony that the priest used it, okay? And the recipe for it is given in the Bible. Okay, and this was depending on whether it was Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, or Solomon, was somewhere between 800 BC and 970 BC, 622 BC, or 650 BC. All right, so how come no one has put that recipe together? Because there were one or two of the ingredients that the translators weren't sure what they were, okay? And what this lady scientist figured out was that cannabosum, I'm probably saying it wrong, had been mistranslated, okay, as sweet calamus, which is a desert flower that has zero medicinal properties. And what she figured out is that what the actual ingredient was cannabis with zero THC, okay? And a number of other ingredients. Okay. So Mike Flint, this genius guy who's got the movie coming out about his life in August, and LeBron James wrote the foreword to his book. He's the oldest college football player, except for kickers, who've actually played in history. He was a linebacker at 59 years old, okay? So Mike built the recipe for the biblical holy anointing oil into this patch, okay? And it's the only place I know of in the world that you can do it, that has it, okay? Right now, this is it. Now, 5 years from now, maybe this will become, other people will figure it out and they'll invent something that has it too. But right now, we're the only game in town. So for the E49 patch, and I call it the E49 pain patch because it gets rid of pain better than anything I know of. And what I would do is wherever you have a pain, put 3 of these in a triangle around the pain. And my guess is in about 30 minutes, you're going to see that pain dramatically going down, if not completely away. And here's the freaky part. We've had person after person after person say, you know what? My pain went away or got a lot better, but what so many people have told us is the injury healed from the patch. Now that is Star Trek, man, okay? But that's what we've had happen over and over and over. The doctor's name was Dr. Souley Benet. In 1932, she was French. She graduated from Columbia, basically an Ivy League school in New York. And she's the one that discovered this through years and years of research. That's up on your screen. So for the first time since ancient times, this is available, but along with 40 other healing ingredients, including CBD, glutathione, and what was that? Grounding. All right. So that is the E49, and you get 30 of them in a package. I would put one on, just put one on and wear it till it falls off. The only disclaimer on that is if it's because it gives you so much energy in your body, if you're having trouble sleeping because of it, take it off about 3 hours before bedtime, but then put it back on in the morning and it should stick again. Now put it on something that won't take the sticky away, something really slick, okay? But I do that all the time. And Hope can't sleep with them because it does keep her awake. It gives her body so much energy, she has trouble sleeping. Now that's great during the day. And so she puts it back on, all right? So that is what we have for you tonight. And until about a year ago, it was not available anywhere in the world. And as far as I know today, this is the only place it's available now. And let me tell you, those holy oil ingredients, I believe, are like magic. Okay.
Hey, Dr. Alex, can I jump in here for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
It just occurred to me, if we recycle some of what I was telling you about the complete glutathione, my favorite component about it is it generated and recycled energetically. It kept activating like vitamin C. It kept activating E, selenium, milk thistle, N-acetylcysteine. Think about if you're taking a recycler at the same time you're taking an energetic, and you're recycling the energetic.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Blew my mind.
Right.
I'm sorry, Tim. The one thing I forgot to say is that as of right now, we are offering the E49 Holy Oil Pain Patch at 25% off, and we have never done that, ever. And Laura, who's on my team, is here right now. If we unmuted her, she would tell you she changed the price today for you. All right. So how long are we going to leave that discount? I don't know. We may leave it forever. We may leave it for a week. We may leave it for 30 days. I don't know. But right now is the first time we have ever sold it for this price, ever. Okay. And so, Tim, I believe the combination of the chemical nutritional glutathione and the E49 pain patch is just a perfect marriage, and is real. I think you're going to see a tangible difference in your health quickly.
So Alex, let me make a comment here. So you would never know this by our Zoom skills, but I wanted to be our defense attorney for a second. So ladies and gentlemen, the reason Dr. Alex and I are doing this, he was plenty busy. Matter of fact, he won't even return my phone call. He's so busy. If I'm doing a little complaining on a public, I'm kidding. But we're so busy, we have a hard time even dialoguing with each other. But we're doing this because we think we're trying to build something really special. And I have pretty much reached the capacity of what I can do by myself. I think Dr. Alex feels the same way. When we're doing these strategies together, it really is a unique approach, and really an impossible to do by one specialty. So mixing these things and trying to bring the best of everything that's synergistic together, when 1 + 1 = 3, it's always better. And so that by definition, I think is tremendous. And so please don't throw the message out with the messengers who don't know how to use the Zoom platform just perfectly yet. But we're really I had no idea. I've never heard what you said tonight, Alex, about that translation being wrong and that it actually being cannabis that was the missing ingredient. I have a big background in clinical nutrition. I have never heard that before. That is, I learned something tonight. So,
isn't that incredible? But it's not just cannabis, Tim. it's non-THC
I
cannabis,
understand.
very specific. And ladies and gentlemen, what that means is it's not the leaf, it's the stalk. It's the stalk and the roots. Okay, that's where the magic comes from, which is not what people think, because they think the THC, that's what's in marijuana and gives you the high. That's what everybody wants. But it's the stalk and the roots that give you that holy oil magic result. So we've been missing it all these years because we've been searching for the high. What we should have been searching for is the health. And that's what's in the E49.
So Alex, one of the things that I judge if something has efficacy or not is I won't do anything with anybody that hurts their adrenal glands. And one of the things that we see, THC suppresses and inhibits adrenaline. And if you inhibit adrenaline, you can't focus, you're not motivated, you're not ambitious, you just want to eat Cheetos and sit on your mom's couch.
Hey, I like Cheetos.
Well, that's another conversation. I'm going to try to get you some glutathione to pull those Cheetos out of your body.
Okay,
But THC is totally inhibitory to the adrenal gland. If that's true, then it can't be healthy. So when you're talking about the plant, the part of the plant that does not, I just went on vacation with my family and I was sitting at dinner with my beautiful daughter, and I had in Mexico, Alex, I had a lionfish, and I'm sitting there and I eat half the fish, and it occurs to me, I've heard of this fish before. Where have I heard of this fish? Do you know the lionfish is poisonous? So
No.
I ate half of it before I remembered, and then I pulled my phone out and I didn't panic, but I Googled it and I went, oh man. So I had the chef come over. Luckily, just the tentacles on the fish are poisonous, and I didn't eat the tentacles. But my wife asked me, she goes, are you okay? What do you think? And I said, babe, this is the best poisonous fish I have ever had. So it's the part that's good and not the part that's bad. And that'd be a perfect analogy of what you were talking about with the plant.
Yeah, and Tim, think about it another way. What do you hear so much about marijuana and cannabis? You hear about pain relief. You hear about veterans and people like that, and people and cancer people who have
nausea. Yeah.
That's why cannabis is legal in some states. It's only legal for people if you have a severe medical condition, because it's one of the best painkillers we know of. But it's a great painkiller while doing some negative stuff like maybe suppressing or damaging your adrenals.
Yeah.
But what if we use, instead of that, the part that has no THC but has the health magic, and then give you the pain relief with the E49 patch that's completely healthy and organic? You get
so
the
Alex, I'll
pain
tell you
relief,
this.
but without the negative.
I worked in pro sports for 14 years, and trauma that comes from impact with pro sports, you see a lot of opiate use, and we see a lot of liver enzyme problems with people who do that. And a lot of times tremendous constipation and all kinds of negatives, and they'll turn to CBD and marijuana with great, I would much rather somebody do that over opiates.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So,
but maybe the part of the plant that is better.
Yeah. So I believe you're going to get the pain relief you want, the health magic that you want, but without damaging your adrenals or anything else. So how about we see if we have any questions, Tim?
Yes, sir.
Unless you have something else you wanted to share.
No, sir. Let's see if we can help clean up our mess here.
And we may not have any. I don't know.
Okay, so boy, this one is a big one here. It says, do you have a recommendation on vitamins and minerals? There are so many, it seems like we should take a lot of stuff. Boy, don't we all feel like that? And so one of the reasons why I do kinesiology is muscle testing is a yes or no answer. And so one of the things that we're going to try to bring is there's Dr. Alex and I were trying to simplify this into cut the human body up basically into 12 different categories. And so one of the purposes of this channel is that we're trying to say, okay, if you have this, then you should do that. So for a person who's not got a specific indication, what do we recommend vitamin mineral wise? So now let's say you had a bunch of medications, or you had got in some fertilizers, or you're a golfer, or you're a hairstylist, then glutathione absolutely is for you. Dr. Alex thinks that it's something that he likes to do every day. I don't always do glutathione. If I have a glass of wine, I totally take glutathione. If I am under a lot of stress, working crazy hours, usually Monday through Thursday, I take glutathione.
Well, can I interrupt?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. Yeah, I agree with that, but almost everyone I see, Tim, and work with is toxic. Almost everyone I talk to, their diet is not great. They have all kinds of stress and negative emotional junk, and they won't do a liver cleanse. They won't do a gallbladder cleanse because it's too difficult. And so for me, it's for those people who do not have a really healthy lifestyle.
If you don't have a tight diet, absolutely. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. But now I don't do anything wrong at breakfast ever. And the reason I can say that is I don't do anything. So I do intermittent fasting. And so I go about 16, 17 hours a day with absolutely nothing. So I get some liver rest. And then I try to get those cruciferous with the salad at lunch. And I do a meat and vegetable dinner. And Alex, no Cheetos.
Right. Mike asked, I'm using the LifeWave glutathione patches, the E49 as good for detoxing. I'm actually really high up in that LifeWave company, okay? Because they had the first stem cell patch in the world that is fabulous, and I wear their stem cell patches. The average stem cell treatment costs $5,000 to $50,000 each, and is about 50%. You got a 50-50 chance if it'll do you any good. The LifeWave patches for stem cells work better than that, and they're like $5, $10 each. So I love their stem cell patches. As far as detoxing and glutathione, the E49, in my opinion, blows the LifeWave glutathione out of the water. I've tried it, and I don't feel anything with it compared to the E49. I would say try it yourself and see.
Okay. Alex, can I go take this gut protocol question?
Yeah, I was gonna just read that for you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it looks like Jamie asked us regarding the gut protocol talked about previously. She's taken all 3 supplements. Oh, here's my amounts. Here's what I do on the daily. And like Alex, I have my list of favorites. And Alex, we might ought to do I have a lot of patients ask me, tell me exactly what you do. And of course, my stressors are different than your stressors and whatever, but I would love to have that as maybe a topic one night about, and maybe we'll bring another couple of guys on who practice and give that. But berberine, inulin, and probiotic are part of my daily makeup. I take a berberine at breakfast. I take a berberine at dinner. I take my prebiotic inulin in my morning coffee. It's pretty close to tasteless. And I take 1 total probiotic also with breakfast. Inulin is like Miracle-Gro, and the probiotic is like the plant. And when you put them in together, it makes your probiotic propagate better. And so that's my answers on that. Now going down, the next question was the gut protocol seemed to create more bloating and gas. And my answer to that is fantastic. That means you're killing those archaea bacteria in your gut. And when you kill them, the cell membrane lyses, and what's in that cell is gas. So when you kill it, it lyses and you're full of gas. That's fantastic, because that means we're starting to get a clearing there. Now, what I would suggest with that is maybe stop with the probiotic and the prebiotic inulin for like 5 days, and just take the berberine. And that way it's a little simpler on the gut, and we'll do some weeding before we do some seeding and feeding. Now, there is one other thing. There is sometimes a candida overgrowth in the gut that causes that. So I would say go grain free for 5, 6, 7 days completely, meat and vegetable diet, and watch what happens with that.
And let's see. Oh, Heather, the one that asked about recommendation for vitamins and minerals. Be sure to tune in next week. Next week, I believe I'm going to have about a 95% solution for you for that. On Heather asked, do you have a recommendation on vitamins and minerals? There are so many, it seems like we should be taking all this stuff. No, tune in next week, and I'm going to greatly simplify it for you.
Hey, Alex, why don't we make it our topic next week of this is what I do.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. But next week, I believe we're going to have the solution for you, Heather, that'll simplify this and make you healthier than ever. And I've been working on it for a long time. It's coming next week.
Okay.
All right. I think that's all the questions I see, Tim.
Okay. Well, very good, brother. So let me just say this, guys, and please, if your philosophy differs with ours, please don't be offended by what we were talking about the cruciferous. But I will tell you, under a dark field electron microscope, you'll see a couple other things. Omega-3 fatty acids are like the holy trinity. 3s are good. Omega-6s are the beast. The 666 is bad. And you'll see 6s that
Mark of the beast.
It looks like 3 6s written next to each other, and the top of the 6s connect. So I don't know. I'm not a expert on all these little hidden cryptic things, but it is more than a coincidence, I believe, that the thing that saves you in your liver is probably the thing that saves you otherwise, and that is the cruciferous, the cross of the sulfur compounds. Now, the freebie, remember, is increasing your sulfur intake. Onions, leeks, kale, cabbages, garlic, meat. And when you do a diet of meat, chicken, fish, and those vegetables, you're not doing carbohydrates. So you're helping your body by not doing insulin, and your liver gets a rest, not having to break all that insulin down from all those carbs. And you're getting better, probably not because you're avoiding sugar, but because you're detoxifying your body. Now, the energetic that Alex talked about and this missing ingredient that hasn't been translated, I think is fantastic. And so, Alex, just a question for me. Would that patch be better for a person who's detoxing over the liver itself?
I would try that. Yeah, I would try that. You can put it anywhere on the body. What Mike Flint says, and he's the inventor, is under the belly button, on your temple, or on the C3. Is that it?
Probably C2.
C2. Okay, that blob at the top of your spine. Either one of those, but I would say try it over the liver. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, brother, that's all I had. I always enjoy learning from you, and I appreciate our collaboration.
Oh, man.
And is Laura still with us? I guess we need to thank Laura for bailing us out again.
Yes, thank you, Laura. And Tim, I'll say this. I had a professor in college, and he was like 90 years old. He was the guy that all of us talked about on campus. He was one of the hardest teachers there at a high academic university, private university. But anyway, here's what he used to say, Tim, and here's how I feel about you. He would say, if you knew what I knew, your head would just explode. He would say that. He must have, and in a quarter class, we weren't on semesters then, we were on quarters. He would probably say that 10 or 12 times. It was so arrogant. But anyway, you're not arrogant, but you know more than anything, you know more than anyone I know about structure and chemical. So,
Well, brother, here's the thing I will tell you about that is I wish I knew what you knew, and I'm gonna hang out with you until you teach me.
all right. Well, that's cool. All right. Well, next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to solve the nutritional dilemma. I promise. We've been working on it for a long time. We've got it for next week.
We got the basics, and then we'll talk about maybe some personal of what we do in addition to that to kind of give you some really good guidelines. And so look forward to it. And Alex, I appreciate you and thank everybody who joined us tonight. And Laura, thank you again, dear.
Yes. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
I'm answering your question right now. I'm typing it to you. All right. Good night, everyone. Love you. Have a great week.
See you, brother. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Laura.
Yep.